Hi, this is Ed Brock. I'm the editor of Asian Hospitality Magazine, and I'm here with Ritesh Agarwal. Everybody knows him. And Sonal Sinha, that's it. You're the new CEO and president of G6 Hospitality.
CEO G6
under OYO.
That's correct.
Right. So thank you for both being here.
Thank you for having us.
How's the whole been for you, by the way?
I think
Going on stage today.
I think AHO has been fantastic for me. I had the opportunity to be on the stage, speak to our franchisees, and a lot of our franchisees relate with what I said on the stage, which is, in our business, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity,
Right.
and cash flow is the reality.
Yeah.
And G6 brings cash flow.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
But Sonal's been here for the last 2 days on the booth. He's met a few hundred of our franchisees who swung by, who said hello. How's your experience been, Sonal?
Yeah, it's been incredible. Especially people love Motel 6. Motel 6 and
Very
Studios,
popular
both the brands. We had a lot of people pouring in. I met 300 plus people. 300 plus of our franchisees. They showed up just wanted to see us on the booth. So it was incredible and overwhelming.
Right.
And we'll be on the float together later,
Yeah,
so
we'll
we're
be.
excited.
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
Y'all
More to
going to
come.
party tonight, right? Yeah.
No, there's a float.
Oh, it's the float.
It was a-
Oh, that's right. It's like a Mardi Gras thing. Right.
So both of us are going to be on it, so
Oh,
we're looking
nice.
forward to that one.
Oh, good. Now, Ritesh, in February you were at AHOA's Height Conference, and you said something very interesting. You said, we were talking about being your own best advocate, and you said, when the world expects you to fail, you give everything to succeed. When you first started in the hotel industry, did you feel like you were expected to fail, and did that motivate you to succeed?
Yeah, look, my story is like the story of so many other, hotel owners and operators in the United States. I started by being the front office of one of the hotels. I cleaned the back office, cleaned the bedrooms, did the works.
Right.
And most people would have imagined that I'd be lucky if I scrape by and get that one property successful.
Right. Yeah.
Rightfully so, because I had no logical reason to succeed. But I have learned the difference between somebody who makes it versus not is only how desperately they want it. And hence, as an outcome, they're willing to work hard. They're going to put their perspective. They're wanting to learn everything, and that's what I did. And I'm also very lucky to have a great management team. I think, a partner like Sonal and some of the key leaders that we found. I think they're all a reason why we've been able to grow ourselves from that one tiny location to now tens of thousands of locations.
Yeah, they're all over the world. Yeah. Do you still feel like you have to be your own best advocate now that you're successful?
Look, I believe so. I think, I always think that the more you climb up on the hill, the horizon is broader.
Right.
So there's a new challenge every day. And
Right.
that's what gets you going, right?
Sure.
So now, a year back, the challenge was how do we become relevant and impactful in the United States?
Yeah.
Then, by the end of last year, when OYO became more than 400 locations, the challenge became how do we translate ourselves to have a sign brand? Now that we have G6, it's become how do we help our G6 franchisees grow and become successful?
Wow,
So there's always a new challenge, and I'm sure that's what all of our colleagues relate with every day.
Right. And we're going to do more into G6 in a minute. But tell me first about how hard was it to start OYO? What did you have to go through?
I'd say that if I knew how hard it was, I'd probably not do it.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't know.
I love the outcome.
Yeah.
But the process, while I enjoyed it, but I think it's hard, right? Because often people, when they start companies, they're told that the reason you should start a company is you will have no boss.
Right. But
You realize very quickly your customers your boss,
Right.
your suppliers your boss, your lenders your boss, your equity partners your boss, your team members your boss, your external business partners your boss, your city is your boss.
wow.
So everybody expects accountability from you,
Yeah.
and hence you have to be comfortable to be accountable to a large number of people rather than just one.
Right.
The day you become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But the good thing is the reward's great as well. You get to solve exciting problems. You got to create great outcomes, and I feel like the outcome is well worth it.
Right. Yeah. So far. At one point, you had 30 rupees in the bank. Now you're one of the youngest billionaires on the planet. Tell me, how does that reflect on your journey?
I still can't believe it. Often when, I of course tell all the things about what we do. We talk to our clients, our partners, our investors, lenders, everyone, business partners and so on. And then sometimes when I go back to my bed, I ask myself, is this all for real? Because exactly 10 years ago, I didn't imagine any of it. I think all I could imagine is I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do what I enjoy. And if it means great outcomes, God's kind. If not, I'd have enjoyed every day. So I think I can't believe it, but I always believe that if you work hard, God can be kind to you. And I think that God's been kind to us.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is the main ingredient in the success of OYO?
I think the main ingredient I'd break into three parts for the success of OYO as a global entity, as well as, in Europe, Belvila, Dan Center, Check My Guest, or here increasingly G6. I'd say the first is a very deeply committed team who wants to win. Our teams don't want to be good or good plus. Our teams like to win. Our teams like to win for us. Our teams like to win for our franchisees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The second thing is a set of business partners who don't see themselves as being external. They see themselves as being part of the family. And that's what I was telling earlier about G6, OYO. You meet our partners. In their minds, we are not a big corporate. They see of us as business partners, where we bring some value to the table, they bring some value to the table, and together we succeed. And that makes us, our relationship, unique. And I'd say the third thing is great patient capital. I think partners like SoftBank, Microsoft, and various others who have supported us and put capital in our company and trusted us, they've been patient and they've given us the long path towards long-term success, which is a great thing for our industry to have such intelligent and smart capital wanting to take exposure in our industry.
Key to everything. It was in March, and you were at the Mumbai Tech Week, and you said that you still clean bathrooms at the hotels. What hotels do you clean the bathrooms? How do you set that up? And what, you do this as a lesson to your teammates, what lesson are you imparting with them?
Yeah, often people have taken just the half of the sentence. If you take the full sentence, the sentence is, you have to learn when you're an entrepreneur to appreciate that every work is important. As a role modeling exercise, sometimes I also show up to hotels when for housekeeping, bedroom cleaning, and so on. So that was sort of the full context. And I think the reason why it's critical is that we often, as business leaders, end up spending time with the person who we engaged with, who we signed the franchise with, or the marketing agreement with. But that's only 50% of the equation, or I'd say 20% of the equation. 80% is the partner of the person who signed the business relationship with you. They're managing these hotels. And managing the hotel means cleaning up the bedrooms, getting the HVAC systems to be right, cleaning the restrooms and things like those. And often, we are not able to appreciate as a corporate about what goes in there. So I feel sometimes doing it yourself is the best way to appreciate what happens in there. I'll tell you this, what happened as an outcome is when I went back home, and this was on the news, my wife said, "You're going to start doing this in the home as well?" I said, "Well, I'd do once a week, but you got to cook my favorite meal too."
It's a trade-off.
It'll be a trade-off. It's a give and take, isn't it?
Yeah, yes it is. It's marriage. So let's get into G6. What led to your decision, it was last year, to acquire G6? What were you hoping to accomplish with the acquisition?
I'll share some perspective, and I and Sonal were in the room together, so I'll have him add as well. We've known G6 for a few years. It's an iconic Americano brand, loved largely not just by customers, but also franchisees to be a part of this ecosystem. OYO, on the other hand, had digitally figured out its ability to drive the best digital revenue for our franchisees. So our perspective was we could take the best of both worlds. Our perspective was we can take the best of both worlds, which is the digital strength of growing revenue and performance. And on the other hand, the brand and the love that franchisees have for G6. So that made us consider to make a bid. And when the bid started is when I called Sonal and I said, "Sonal, we're thinking of making this bid. What do you think?" And Sonal, you want to tell what happened after?
I think it was an amazing thing. Like, when we started, and it's a long journey, right? So when we started in 2019, OYO, and then that time we were in touch, and we thought someday, there could be this could be our brand. So the moment Ritesh called and said, okay, this is what I'm thinking. Just relate 5 years back, we had this conversation where we thought we'll do it someday, and now that is the day. So that was the feeling I had. But incredible. I think Ritesh has just highlighted, the power these two platforms have. OYO being a tech platform, we know how to run a mobile app. We know how to distribute, partner with multiple agencies, distribute the properties on channels. So that's the tech strength that OYO brings. We have more than 500 engineers back in India, and they do a lot of coding, data stuff, right? Coding stuff, so that your property can distribute. Now, on the other side, Motel 6, we work day in, day out, clean the rooms, make sure the rooms are ready for the next available guest. The sign works, people can relate to it. It's an iconic brand. So
but the sign is an important one, right? Like I think if you have Motel 6 outside your location, the number of people who drive in, it's unbelievable. And that's the discussion we used to have in 2019, that if there is one economy brand, we would eventually make a play for, that would be Motel 6.
Sure, it makes
and
sense.
There's a saying which is, when you really want something, the universe conspires. For it to come.
Not to forget, Studio 6. Right?
Well, they're together.
Yeah, the extended long stay brand. So the operating margins are good, the amenities are low. It's extremely good for our partners' pockets, as well as customers get a very good, clean, hygienic stay. So I think that's an area.
Sonal loves Studio 6 because he says these are weekly stays. The cost of operating is lower. And with some of the housing struggle, that's a massive opportunity to grow, isn't it? So, and if you see, G6 has 1,500 locations now in the US. We have close to 1,200 Motel 6.
That's correct. 1,200 Motel 6, 300.
300 Studio 6. So what that does is, gives us a lot of firepower to grow Studio 6 in times to come. So, that's why he's so excited about it.
Motel 6 is more widespread than Studio 6.
That's right. That's right. It's understandable, right? Because when you drive by, it started with Motel 6 back in the 60s and has been that way.
Okay. And I think we covered the whole thing about your ambitions for the brand. But I mean, do you have a number of hotels, like a target number of hotels you want to grow it by next year or two?
So we would like to grow, but we would not like to dilute the brand proposition. So we will have an cautious step towards growth. Now, the first 2 quarters, and I and Ritesh have spoken that, while initially we had set a target of about 150 hotels signing and about 100 hotels opening this year. But I would be cautious today and make sure that I serve the customers today, work with my franchisees, make sure they are fully integrated with the new setups that we are going to bring into, right? Like today we just launched our new version of mobile app, My6 app. So all this needs to be, explained to our consumers, both the franchisees and the customers. So this is the hard work we will do in the next couple of quarters. But not to forget, like there are people who still want to join. I travel a lot. I have been going to different cities and
the number of applications is incredible. I think the number of people who want to be a Motel 6 or Studio 6, especially with our ownership, where they know that there is a long-term clarity and stability of ownership. It's massive. But I think to Sonal's point, our primary commitment today is to make sure our current franchisees make so much more. We just came out of the Q1. I'm happy to share that when the industry is declined year on year on revenue, we have delivered 3.5% up year on year. We are driving same-store growth by means of growing our mobile app, like Sonal mentioned. We just launched it today, but we've been experimenting it for some time. We've got corporate sales. We had, I would say, 7 corporate sales when we brought in G6. Now we have 13 and we are hiring 10 more, so we'll be 22. We have met more corporate clients in the last 3 months than we met in whole of 2024. And that's because the great work that Nina, Rohit, our fantastic teams are doing, all credit to them. So my perspective is, and that I agree with Sonal in saying that let's deliver performance for our current franchisees.
Right.
Give them the best revenue, lowest costs, and most profits.
Right.
If we can do that, our current franchisees will go buy so many locations and make
Yeah.
them into Motel 6 or Studio 6.
Yeah, exactly. More. The same people do this more hotels, right? Now, recently, we all know. Y'all talked about it this morning a little bit about the tariffs that were imposed, including 27% on India. Now, these have all been paused, but still a lot of uncertainty out there right now. How is that impacting your decision making in dealing with the United States market?
So first off, I think the relationship between people to people between India and US has been incredible.
Right.
Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji also visited the US.
Yes, he did.
Right after President Trump's inauguration.
Yes.
Back in the day, we were honored to be one of the supporters of the Howdy Modi conference, which was fantastic at Houston. 100,000 people showed up to a conference like that.
Yeah.
So I believe that given the deep ties our countries have, I think that there is a unidirectional sentiment of more investments from India to US and US to India. I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
Right.
And the good thing is we are less impacted by tariffs. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an optimist by definition because we have American hotels,
Right.
mostly American customers. I'd say over 95% of our customers are domestic
Right.
and American workers.
Right.
So if you combine three of those, we have very little impact from the COVID.
Yeah.
And I feel with the rapid investments in the communities that are going to come by, and I'm starting to see some of it, whether it is in oil and gas or in data center and so on, there's going to be a lot of jobs being created at the bottom to mid of the pyramid,
Right. And that's what you.
and that's my customer.
Right. Yeah.
So if anything, I actually see some potential upside
Right.
in times to come.
Right.
And that is why this morning when we had this discussion, I said, uncertainty is a great time to invest because when COVID happened,
Right.
people were so scared.
Right.
Every franchise of G6 who bought hotel during COVID, they made great profits.
Right. Right.
So my perspective is uncertainty can be opportunity if used properly,
particularly for an economy brand.
particularly for an economy brand.
The only thing I think would impact you guys is in everybody is the construction costs, of course, but
Yeah, so I think a large part of our locations are conversions.
right.
There are new constructions also, but a large part of them are conversions. And conversions, we're seeing that the pipeline remains very solid
Yeah.
for conversion as well. But at the same time, if you think about it, India is probably one of the lower tariffs
Yeah.
among
Yeah.
so many other countries,
Right.
which means there's an opportunity
Yeah.
for India to become a supplier in a lot of places where there are other countries who are current incumbents with
Right.
higher costs. And second, there's an opportunity for those companies to come and manufacture locally here in the United States.
Right.
And I think both of those are great opportunities. In fact, here at the convention, I met 4 or 5 companies who are considering having their manufacturing here in the US
Yeah. Yeah.
to be closer to
That's
the
I think
clients.
what's the end goal. Right.
Yeah.
So next is more general. This could be for both of you. What does leadership mean to you?
Sonal?
Yeah, so I think for me it's building the next set of leaders for yourself, right? You want to make sure that your team is ready to take up more responsibility so that you can take more responsibility, right?
Right.
So you groom more leaders,
Right.
and then you also educate them how to make new leaders.
Right.
So it's a ship that needs to
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
That's the leadership for me.
And that's how you see our jobs are divided.
Yeah.
Sonal's job is to make sure that the trains run, the ship moves in the right direction, and we get exceptional team members. I think Sonal's probably worked with almost 10 plus people who have been promoted to VPs
Yeah.
over the years.
Right.
And he's personally trained them. Sometimes they don't like it because Sonal can sort of give good feedback, but also push them. But I think they're all very happy when they become successful on the other side.
Right.
I think for me, leadership is in complement to what Sonal said. It is to get people to work for the why, not the what.
Yeah.
Because in today's world, people work for purpose.
Right.
They want to know what is the outcome. Why are they putting the work?
Yeah.
And I think that is where the magic happens.
Sure.
If people know why they are pursuing something, and at the same time they get a mentor like Sonal who trains them and gets them ready to grow in the company. I think that's where you get, the uniqueness of being a light keeper at G6 and OYOpreneur at OYO.
Keeping the light on.
Keeping the light on for you.
Take us through a typical day for both of you. How do you relax, if you ever do?
I'll probably go first on this one, Sonal can add. Look, I think my day typically I'd start at around 6 in the morning is when I wake up.
Right, okay.
I used to wake up actually earlier, but now it's turned a little bit further. I think I spent probably the first hour clearing up emails, getting done, because we work across time zones.
Yeah.
So that's what I do to begin with in the day. I think get started, I try to meditate every day in the morning for some time. And after that go to work to our offices. I think start at around 9:30 in the morning. I typically have a view of saying in the mornings, you should spend most of the time meeting external people.
Right. Yeah.
Franchisees, suppliers, investors, lenders, potential recruits, business partners, everything.
Right.
In the afternoon and evenings is when I do the internal problem solving with my colleagues and so on.
Okay.
I often end the day with a dinner with my colleagues or business partners and so on. And post that, I'd still finish the day's work, because really most people think the meeting's a job, but the agreements in the meeting, getting them done is a real job. So that's when I do post in the next few hours is when I get that done.
Yeah.
Relax. Look, I feel like work relaxes me. I enjoy my work. I enjoy my work. But that said, I think there's a few things that I like outside. I think I recently picked up surfing, and this new thing of surfing where you have the electric surfboard. So you don't need waves for the,
It's got like a little motor on it.
Yes, it has a little motor on it with a fan underneath, so it creates waves for you, which is great. It works for me, so I enjoy that.
Wow. Where do you go for that? Where do you surf?
So India, there's Mumbai is a great place.
Mumbai.
You have that, and then you have Chennai. Chennai also has a great coast, but that's in India.
Right.
I think US has so many locations. You could go to so many places, but I think
Hawaii is one of my favorites. I don't surf, but Hawaii is one of my favorite states. So.
Yeah, no, Hawaii is beautiful. I think, if any, hotel owner is watching this from Hawaii, you should consider bringing in a Motel 6 there. That'll give me a reason to come out. It's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. OYO's been...
we didn't let Sonal say this.
Oh, Sonal, yeah, go, yeah.
Your day and relax.
Yeah, I start my day with some music. Okay, just calms the nerves down, and I go for a stroll. Sometimes do not think anything. That just eases out the last night's pressure, and then start the day with a breakfast and start catch up on your emails. It's a simple day, and then as the day progresses, you start with meetings, things like that. And it's generally a very busy day. Very much like what Ritesh said, external people meet as many partners, franchisees as possible. Meet as many team members as possible.
In the last 90 days, he's probably been on the road for 45 days.
I love traveling.
Tell us about some of the cities that you've been to, Sonal.
So we started.
You were at Lubbock a few days ago.
So we started the road shows before actually we took over the G6, right?
Yeah.
So we did a coast to coast. We started from LA. And I think from LA we went to Portland, and Portland to Dallas, to Houston, to DC, Atlanta. We stopped at Atlanta, and then we went to Indianapolis.
All over the
that
place.
was all in 7 days.
Yeah. That's good.
7 days.
Yeah.
And we have been traveling. Like I and Ritesh has been traveling like almost every month for 5 days. Last week I was in Lubbock, and I was in Phoenix meeting some of the partners in Houston, San Antonio. So I draw energy from our franchisees. You hear their success stories, and how they have scaled up from one single hotel to multi-unit ownership. That's the incredible story that keeps you going.
And I think that's one of the things that I think franchisees relate with him. That is, their ability to connect and meet each other and be engaged.
Right.
And that's why I feel like G6, as I was mentioning earlier, we consider ourselves a community brand because the community is just so deeply engaged with us.
Right. So OYO has been working on its IPO for a while now. And so where are we in that process of the IPO in India, and how might the proceeds be used to fund development, particularly here in the U.S., or everybody in the U.S. as well?
So I think OYO has seen rapid progress over the last few years. I think 3 years ago, we delivered, or 2 years ago rather, we delivered $107 million in EBITDA. Last year, we'll be concluding pro forma at around $180 million or thereabouts. And next year, we'll probably, the run rate that we have could be probably, insignificant expansion of that.
Right.
So the company's earnings have continuously improved over the last, few quarters, and we're continuously sort of doubling down and expanding further.
Yeah.
And that's the job I have. My job is to deliver great satisfaction to our clients and deliver great earnings for our shareholders and lenders.
Right.
When should we consider a public offering is ultimately something that the board members will decide.
Right.
And I think our board members such as Steve, Troy, Deepa, Aditya, they got to debate this and come back with an opinion. But that said, as a management, we are ready to sort of pursue public offering as and when the board guides us potentially. But that said, I think what's incredible is in the last 2 years, we've had great interest from capital providers. We've had Nuvama Capital, Incred Capital, Khazana, which is a sovereign wealth fund, and so many others become part of our cap table and continuously sort of support the company for its long-term success.
Right. And where would you, if it happens, how is that going to benefit the U.S.?
Look, naturally, U.S. is now our, probably the largest market in our business, and I think growing. As a single country, of course, Europe as an overall region may have sizable scale, but I think specifically as a country, I think US is our biggest business. So to that extent, we are all in our US commitment. Sonal lives in Dallas. I come out to Dallas very often. So we are very committed to make sure that we make the US business successful, and we're doing it in many ways. I think we're investing in technology. We announced a $10 million investment for our technology stacks.
Right.
We are investing in talent. Like I mentioned earlier, we've been hiring sales and marketing people.
Right.
We are recruiting and expanding on various different divisions. We will be building deep partnerships in sourcing, in lending, for insurance, for our franchisees, which is another big effort. We've been investing rapidly on marketing. We are increasing our marketing spends on app stores and multiple other platforms significantly. So our view is we are the contrarians who are saying that when the world wants to do mid-scale and upscale, we want to double down on economy and make economy segment the most incredible opportunity for not just us, but for our franchisees, because like I said in the beginning, the cash flow is in the economy segment.
Yeah, that's the reality.
That's the reality.
You were on Shark Tank India. What motivated you to get on that show? Did you want to help other people become successful business?
Yeah, look, I think my story, like I mentioned earlier, is like so many other of the HOA members and our community, who frankly we all pinch ourselves and ask, is this real, right?
Yeah.
But there are people who supported me, who supported others, and we all feel like we want to give back.
Right.
And what better than Shark Tank, which millions of people watch? It's probably one of the most watched business shows around the world.
Right.
Shark Tank India probably has more viewership than any other Shark Tank franchise around the world.
Yeah.
And that brings exceptional amount of young individuals, both in India as well as Indian Americans here in the US, who watch the show.
Right.
And my perspective is, if there is any way in which there'll be 10 or 20 or 50 entrepreneurs who say that by listening to Ritesh on television, we thought of starting as well, I'd have done my job. I think I'd have given back to the people who helped me set up my company to begin with. So that's why I got on, and it's been fabulous. It's been incredible last 2 years being on the show.
Yeah. Are you still on it? Still running?
Yeah, and so our current season is airing right now.
Okay.
And the next season shoot will start in a few quarters from now.
Okay. I think that's all we have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.